Hi, everyone, again. Welcome to Ask Me Monday, episode number 32. I am going to try again because I can't leave you with that big of a fail. I just can't do it. So, good news, my book is actually right. Garter Kitchener Stitch is printed correctly in my book. The bad news, I'm possibly losing my mind and just totally misread it. So my loss is your gain because I'm going to show you how to do it correctly this time. So we're going to talk about Garter Kitchener Stitch. This is a method of grafting two garter pieces together when they both have live stitches. It's different than regular Kitchener stitch because Kitchener is designed to mock stockinette stitch. So it doesn't really work when you're working with garter stitch because it's going to create bumps where you don't need to create bumps. I am going to show you how to do Garter Kitchener Stitch now. When would you use this stitch? Well, funny you should ask. Probably anytime you're using garter stitch with live stitches, but definitely when you're making a couple of the projects from my book, We Garter Stitch. There's a blanket in there. Be super helpful if I had it to show you right now, but I do not. The stroller patrol blanket and the stripy socks, little garter socks, both of them would use this. So if you bought We Garter Stitch, thank you. This is definitely, you would definitely use this here. So I am going to show you how now. Let me do the little switcheroony. All right. I also have to give props to my husband who was watching the last time, but probably not this time, for getting me this awesome new tripod that will hold the phone in the weird orientation that Facebook requires. So yay, I'm not using my books to stand up. Okay, so you've got two pieces of garter stitch and you want the front piece to have the purl bump showing. So if you were working in traditional garter stitch, you would knit on the right side. Well, you'd knit every row, right? So the knit row would look like the knit stitch in the purl, or in the knit row on the wrong side would look like the purl stitch on the right side. That was super confusing. Let me show you again. So you would want your right side showing for your front needle and your wrong side showing for your back needle. And how I know this is the wrong side is because you can see how that knit stitch shows? You want the knit stitch showing in the back. See how the purl stitch is showing? This means that this is the right side or the public side of the piece. Now really, you could do it in the opposite direction. It would probably be okay-ish. My point being is you just don't want them to be exactly the same. Otherwise, it'll create a non-invisible seam. So let's do this thing. Garter Kitchener Stitch. Way easy, well, not way easier, but easier to remember than traditional, because once we get set up, and I'm going to show you how to do the setup, all you have to remember is knit one, purl one the whole time. So to set up, you're going to hold your pieces parallel, and you're going to insert through the first stitch purlwise with your tapestry needle, but do not let that stitch fall off. Then you're going to do the exact same thing on the back needle. Insert through the stitch purlwise, leaving it there. All that was a setup to anchor your yarn. So now we're ready to really do this. Okay, so from here we're going to go into our first stitch knitwise. So as if to knit. And you're going to let that stitch fall off as you pull through. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, which is now your first stitch, right? Because you just ditched the other one, purlwise. But you're going to let that, make sure you don't cross over, you're going to let that stitch stay on. Then you're going to repeat the process for the back needle. So you come up knitwise through the first stitch on the back needle and you let it fall off. And then you're going to go through the next stitch, which is, it'll now be the first stitch, but the next stitch on the back needle, purlwise, and you let that stay there. So we remember there's a knit one, purl one for every needle, right? So we come back here, so knit one, and when I say knit, I mean just come up through the stitch knitwise. You're not actually knitting the stitch. Let it fall off. purl 1. Really, we're just entering the stitch purlwise, but it's just easier to remember this way. Letting it stay on. Knit 1, come up knitwise on the back. Letting it fall off. Enter purl or purl 1, keeping it on. And that's all you do all the way across. Now, another way that you can remember this, if you're trying to just, keep it in your mind, is that you only drop stitches off the needle when you're entering them knitwise. So all knit stitches are dropped off, all purl or purlwise stitches are left on. So knit 1, purl 1. Okay, so now we're ready to come to our front needle. Knit 1, let it drop off, purl, stay on, knit 1 back, let it drop off, purl, let it stay on. And you're just going to do that all the way across, and you can see, I won't make you watch me do the whole piece, that it's pretty darn seamless. It melds those two pieces right together. So that, my friends, is that. And I feel much better. Whoa, sorry that you had to see that close to me. I feel much better about where I've left you there. We're all doing the best we can. And sometimes things fail. So I'm glad that now we've got it good. It's perfectly clear. And I hope you dig it. I hadn't really worked a lot with grafting garter before I wrote this book. And I feel like that's such an easy method. It's less intimidating than traditional Kitchener. And just kind of a super fun skill to have in your knitting arsenal. So thank you for being here with me again today. And just a reminder to please search for my Craftish podcast to hear some really just great in-depth conversations with creative people. I think that you'll find them, or I hope that you'll find them as inspiring to listen to as I did actually conducting the interviews. Just some amazing men and women talking about their creative paths, how they got to where they are, how they continue to live creatively. There'll be a new episode out next Tuesday with textile designer Anna Joyce. She's got some really great stuff. And also just some really great insight about being raised by artists and how she's translating that into being a mom herself now. If you're in Pasadena this weekend, please visit me at Vogue Knitting Live. I will be making tassels. I know this is a repeat for some of you. We're making a little badge flare to put on your badge, sponsored by Malabrigo, just because I like a little pop of happy, and how can you not smile when you look down at your badge? You've got a little tassel, it's soft, it's beautiful, it's all good stuff, and it's part of the Craft Yarn Council Stitch Away Your Stress initiative. I'll also be doing a fashion show for Wee Garter Stitch with a bunch of wee babies, including my 2 nephews, and actually my almost niece and nephew. It's my best friend from when I was 9. She's going to have her kids there too. And also Kathy Fillion, for those of you, for Creative Juice and Mod Podge fans, her girls are going to be modeling too, so it's going to be super fun. And I'll just be there book signing and just hanging out with the knitters and just soaking in all the knitting goodness. So until next week, I wish you a great week. Take a little time for yourself, and don't forget to breathe in, craft out. Bye everyone.